The Awakening. In the vast expanse of the Milky Way, humanity had finally taken its place among the stars. It had been nearly a century since Earth made first contact with the galactic community, and in that time, humans had proven themselves to be resourceful, adaptable, and unpredictable. While not the most technologically advanced species, humanity's tenacity and ingenuity had earned them both respect and wariness from their alien counterparts. Dr. Ilara Chen stood at the observation deck of the Terran Embassy on Salaxia Prime, the bustling capital world of the Galactic Confederation. Her dark eyes scanned the alien cityscape, marveling at the towering spires that seemed to defy gravity and the streams of hover vehicles weaving between them. As the lead synopsychologist for the human delegation, Ilara had spent years studying the various species that made up the galactic community. Yet, even after all this time, she still found herself in awe of the diversity of life that existed beyond Earth. A gentle chime from her comlink interrupted her reverie. "Dr. Chen, your presence is requested in Conference Room Alpha. Priority 1. Ilara frowned. Priority 1 meant something significant had occurred, something that could potentially affect humanity's standing in the galaxy. She straightened her uniform and made her way through the embassy's winding corridors. As she entered the conference room, Ilara was greeted by a tense atmosphere. Ambassador Marcus Reeves, a stern man with graying hair and piercing blue eyes, stood at the head of the table. Surrounding him were representatives from various alien species, their expressions ranging from concern to outright fear. "Dr. Chen, thank you for joining us," Reeves said, his voice tight. "We have a situation that requires your expertise." Ilara took her seat, noting the holographic display flickering in the center of the table. It showed what appeared to be a swirling mass of energy, constantly shifting and changing. "What am I looking at, Ambassador?" she asked. A Zarkonian representative, his iridescent scales shimmering under the room's lights, spoke up. "This, Dr. Chen, is what we call the Shroud. It is a dimension that exists parallel to our own, a realm of pure psionic energy." Ilara's eyebrows shot up. "Psionic energy? You mean telepathy, telekinesis, powers of the mind?" "Precisely," the Zarkonian confirmed. "For millennia, most species have been aware of its existence, but unable to interact with it in any meaningful way. Until now." Ambassador Reeves cleared his throat. 3 days ago, a human colony on Novus Prime experienced an incident. A young man named Alex Decker suddenly manifested incredible psionic abilities. He was able to move objects with his mind, read thoughts, and even manipulate the very fabric of space-time around him. Ilara leaned forward, her scientific curiosity piqued. "That's extraordinary. But why the concern? Surely this is a breakthrough for humanity." The room fell silent, and Ilara sensed the unease radiating from the alien representatives. An Ellerin elder, her luminescent tendrils pulsing with agitation, spoke softly. "Dr. Chen, you must understand. In the history of our galaxy, no species has ever been able to harness the power of the Shroud to this extent. The few individuals who have tried, well, the results have been catastrophic." "What do you mean by catastrophic?" Ilara asked, a sense of dread creeping into her voice. Ambassador Reeves sighed heavily. "The young man, Alex, he lost control. The psionic energy overwhelmed him. Before we could contain the situation, he had leveled half the colony. Thousands are dead or injured." Ilara gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. "That's terrible. Is Alex?" "He's alive," Reeves confirmed, "but in a comatose state. We've had to place him in a specially designed containment unit to prevent further outbursts." The Zarkonian representative leaned forward, his multifaceted eyes fixed on Ilara. "Dr. Chen, we need to understand why humans seem to have this unique ability to interface with the Shroud. More importantly, we need to know if this was an isolated incident or if more of your kind possessed this potential." Ilara's mind raced with the implications. If humans truly had the ability to harness this psionic energy, It could revolutionize their understanding of the universe. But the risks, the destruction caused by just one inexperienced individual was staggering. "I'll need access to all the data we have on Alex and the incident," Ilara said, her voice firm with determination. "And we'll need to start screening other humans for potential psionic abilities immediately." Ambassador Reeves nodded. "Agreed. But Dr. Chen, I need not remind you of the delicacy of this situation. If word gets out that humanity possesses this power, it could drastically alter our standing in the galactic community. Some may see us as a threat, or as potential protectors," the Eloran elder added, her tendrils swaying thoughtfully. "If humans can be trained to control these abilities, they could become a formidable defense against threats from beyond the galaxy's edge." As the implications of this discovery settled over the room, Ilara felt a mix of excitement and trepidation. Humanity stood on the brink of a new frontier, one that could elevate them to unprecedented heights or plunge them into unimaginable danger. "We'll proceed with caution," Ilara assured the group. "But make no mistake, this changes everything. The galaxy may have laughed at humanity's ambitions before, but now they'll have no choice but to take us seriously." As the meeting adjourned, Ilara's mind was already formulating plans for the research ahead. Little did she know that this was just the beginning of a journey that would reshape the fate of not just humanity, but the entire galaxy. The shroud had been unveiled, and with it, humanity's true potential was about to be unleashed upon the stars. The revelation. 6 months had passed since the incident on Novus Prime, and the galaxy was abuzz with rumors and speculation. Despite the best efforts of the Terran Embassy and the Galactic Confederation to keep the events under wraps, whispers of humanity's newfound abilities had begun to spread through the interstellar grapevine. Dr. Ilara Chen stood before a panel of the galaxy's most esteemed scientists and political leaders, her heart racing as she prepared to present her findings. The auditorium of the Galactic Science Academy on Salaxia Prime was filled to capacity, with holographic projections allowing millions more to watch from across the stars. "Distinguished colleagues," Ilara began, her voice steady despite her nerves, "what I'm about to share with you will fundamentally change our understanding of the universe and humanity's place within it." With a wave of her hand, she brought up a holographic display of the human brain, with certain areas highlighted in pulsating blue light. "Through extensive research and testing, we have confirmed that approximately 1 in every 10,000 humans possesses a unique neurological structure that allows them to interface with the dimension we call the shroud. These individuals, whom we have termed shins, can manipulate psionic energy in ways previously thought impossible." A murmur rippled through the audience. Ilara could see a mix of awe, fear, and skepticism on the faces of the assembled aliens. "But how?" asked a Volcran scientist, his tentacles twitching with excitement. "What makes human physiology so special?" Ilara nodded, anticipating the question. "It appears to be a combination of factors. The human brain's neuroplasticity, our species' adaptability, and a quirk in our quantum neural pathways all contribute to this ability. But perhaps most importantly, it's our capacity for abstract thought and imagination that allows us to conceptualize and manipulate the energies of the shroud." She brought up another display, this one showing the human shin in action. The audience gasped as they watched the individual levitate objects, create force fields, and even manipulate the flow of time in a localized area. As you can see, the potential applications of these abilities are vast. From revolutionizing space travel to advancing medical science, the possibilities are nearly endless. An Eloran elder raised her hand, her luminescent tendrils pulsing with concern. "Dr. Chen, while the potential benefits are clear, we cannot ignore the destructive capabilities of these powers. How can we be certain that humanity will use them responsibly?" Ilara took a deep breath, knowing this was the crux of the matter. "You're right to be concerned. The incident on Novus Prime showed us the devastating consequences of unchecked psionic power. That's why we've established the Psionic Defense Initiative, or PDI. She brought up another holographic display, showing a state-of-the-art facility on Earth's moon. The PDI is dedicated to identifying potential Xians, training them to control their abilities, and establishing strict ethical guidelines for the use of psionic powers. We're not taking this responsibility lightly. Ambassador Reeves stepped forward, his presence commanding attention. I want to assure the galactic community that Earth and its colonies are committed to transparency and cooperation in this matter. We view our Xians not as weapons, but as a resource for the betterment of all sapient life. The auditorium erupted in a cacophony of voices, questions flying from all directions. Ilara did her best to address them, but she could sense the underlying current of fear and uncertainty. As the presentation concluded, Ilara found herself cornered by a group of alien scientists, each eager to learn more about humanity's newfound abilities. Among them was Dr. Zixfera, a renowned Zarkonian physicist whose work on interdimensional theory had laid the groundwork for much of their understanding of the Shroud. Dr. Chen. Zixfera chittered, his iridescent scales shimmering with excitement. Your discoveries are nothing short of revolutionary. But I must ask, have you considered the long-term evolutionary implications for your species? Ilara nodded, having pondered this very question many sleepless nights. We have, Dr. Zixfera. Our geneticists are already noting subtle changes in the DNA of our Xians. It's possible that, given enough time, psionic abilities could become more common in the human population. Fascinating, the Zarkonian mused. And terrifying. Your species could become the dominant force in the galaxy within a few generations. Before Ilara could respond, an alarm blared through the auditorium. Ambassador Reeves rushed over, his face pale. Dr. Chen, we have a situation. A Xian in training has lost control at the PDI facility. We need you there immediately. Ilara's heart sank. This was exactly the kind of incident they'd been trying to prevent. As she rushed to the emergency shuttle, she could feel the eyes of the galactic community upon her. The revelation of humanity's psionic potential had been met with wonder and fear in equal measure. Now they would be watching to see how humans handled the responsibility that came with such power. The shuttle ride to the moon was tense. Ilara pored over the data streaming in from the PDI facility. The Psian in question was a young woman named Sophia Cruz, who had shown exceptional aptitude for psionic manipulation. But something had triggered a cascading loss of control, and now the very fabric of space-time around the facility was beginning to warp. As they approached the moon, Ilara could see the distortion with her naked eye. A shimmering, twisting bubble of reality centered on the PDI complex. She steeled herself for what lay ahead, knowing that the fate of human-alien relations might hinge on how they resolved this crisis. The shuttle landed, and Ilara rushed into the facility, donning a protective suit designed to shield her from psionic energy. As she made her way to the containment area, she saw the toll the incident had taken. Equipment floated freely, defying gravity. PDI staff lay unconscious, their minds overwhelmed by the psychic backlash. At the center of it all was Sophia, suspended in midair, her eyes glowing with otherworldly energy. Streams of psionic force whipped around her like solar flares. Ilara activated her suit's communication system. Sophia, can you hear me? It's Dr. Chen. We're here to help you. The young woman's head turned, her gaze fixing on Ilara. When she spoke, her voice echoed with power. Dr. Chen, I can see everything. The past, the future, all of reality. It's too much. I know it's overwhelming, Sophia, Ilara said, trying to project calm despite her racing heart. But you can control this. Remember your training. Focus on my voice. As Ilara continued to talk Sophia down, she became acutely aware of what was at stake. This wasn't just about saving one life or protecting a facility. This was humanity's chance to prove to the galaxy that they could responsibly wield the incredible power they'd been given. Slowly, painstakingly, Sophia began to reassert control. The psionic storm around her calmed. Objects settled back to the ground, and the spatial distortions began to normalize. As the young Psion descended, Ilara rushed forward to catch her. "You did it, Sophia," Ilara whispered, holding the exhausted woman. "You proved it's possible to come back from the brink." As medical teams rushed in and the cleanup began, Ilara's comm link chimed. It was Ambassador Reeves. "Dr. Chen, excellent work. But I'm afraid this incident has stirred up quite the hornet's nest. The Galactic Council is convening an emergency session to discuss the human psionic situation. They're requesting your presence." Ilara sighed, the weight of responsibility settling heavily on her shoulders. Humanity had unveiled its greatest gift and its greatest challenge to the galaxy. Now they would have to navigate the turbulent waters of interstellar politics, all while working to understand and control their burgeoning psionic potential. As she prepared to face the Galactic Council, Ilara couldn't help but wonder, had humanity's revelation of their psionic abilities marked the beginning of a new era of galactic cooperation, or had they unknowingly set the stage for an interstellar conflict unlike any the galaxy had ever seen? The next few days would be crucial in determining the course of human-alien relations for generations to come. And Ilara knew that every word, every action, every demonstration of psionic power would be scrutinized by billions of eyes across the cosmos. The galaxy had indeed stopped laughing at humanity's ambitions. Now, they watched with bated breath to see what this young, unpredictable species would do next. The threat emerges. The Galactic Council chambers buzzed with tension. Representatives from 100 different species filled the grand amphitheater, their voices a cacophony of clicks, whistles, and rumbles. Dr. Ilara Chen stood at the center, feeling the weight of countless alien gazes upon her. "Order. We will have order." The booming voice of High Counselor Zaxfon, a towering Andromedian with shimmering liquid metal skin, echoed through the chamber. As silence fell, he fixed his multifaceted eyes on Ilara. "Dr. Chen, you stand before us to address the concerns raised by humanity's psionic abilities. The floor is yours." Ilara took a deep breath, centering herself. "Esteemed members of the Council, I understand your fears. The power to manipulate reality itself is indeed terrifying, but I implore you to see the potential for good. Already, our Xins have made breakthroughs in faster-than-light travel, medical science, and energy production." She waved her hand, activating a holographic display showing Xins at work, healing the sick, powering entire cities with their minds, and folding space to allow instantaneous travel between star systems. "We come before you not as conquerors, but as partners. We seek to use our gifts for the betterment of all sapient life in the galaxy." A Vulcan representative, his tentacles writhing with agitation, spoke up. "Pretty words, Dr. Chen. But how can we trust the humans won't use these powers for dominance? Your species has a history of conflict and aggression." Before Ilara could respond, alarms blared throughout the chamber. Holographic screens flickered to life, showing scenes of devastation across multiple worlds. High Counselor Zaxfon's voice cut through the chaos. "We are under attack. Multiple systems along the galactic rim report invasion by an unknown force." The screens showed massive, obsidian ships emerging from tiers in spacetime. Energy weapons of unimaginable power laid waste to planetary defenses. Ground forces, composed of grotesque, biomechanical monstrosities, swarmed across alien worlds. "By the cosmic core," gasped an Eloran elder. "It's the Void Horde. They were supposed to be just a myth." Ilara's mind raced. The Void Horde, a legendary threat from beyond the galactic rim, whispered about in ancient texts, but never before encountered. And now, they were here, laying waste to everything in their path. Ambassador Reeves stepped forward, his voice steady despite the panic around them. "High Counselor, members of the Council, humanity stands ready to assist. Our Xins may be the key to stopping this invasion." For a moment, the chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Then, almost reluctantly, High Counselor Zaxfon nodded. "Very well, Ambassador, we accept your offer of assistance. But know this, the galaxy will be watching. What followed was a whirlwind of activity. Ilara found herself aboard the Terran flagship Horizon, racing towards the front lines of the conflict. With her was an elite team of Shins, including Sophia Cruz, now fully in control of her immense powers. As they approached the Rigel system, site of the Void Horde's deepest incursion, Ilara briefed her team. Our conventional weapons seem ineffective against their technology. It's up to us to find a way to stop them. The scene that greeted them as they dropped out of FTL was one of nightmare. The once vibrant world of Rigel Prime was scared and burning. Void Horde ships hung in orbit, their very presence seeming to warp the fabric of space around them. All Shins, prepare for battle, came the order from Admiral Zhang. May the stars watch over us all. As the Terran fleet engaged the Void Horde, Ilara and her team focused their powers. They reached out with their minds, probing the alien vessels, searching for weaknesses. Sophia's voice crackled over the comm. Dr. Chen, I'm sensing something strange. These ships, they're not just machines. They're alive, somehow. And they're in pain. Ilara frowned. In pain? What do you mean? It's like they're being forced to fight against their will, Sophia explained. There's a central consciousness controlling them, but it's twisted, corrupted. A plan began to form in Ilara's mind. If they're alive and connected, maybe we can communicate with them, not with words, but with emotions, with pure thought. She turned to her team. Everyone, focus your minds. Project feelings of peace, of freedom. Let's see if we can break whatever control is being exerted over them. The Psionics joined their mental efforts, reaching out to the Void Horde ships. At first, there was resistance, a wall of hatred and pain pushing back against them. But slowly, gradually, they began to make progress. Across the battlefield, Void Horde ships began to falter in their attacks. Some turned on each other, while others simply powered down, drifting lifelessly in space. It's working, Ilara exclaimed. Keep pushing. But their victory was short-lived. A massive portal tore open in space, and through it emerged a ship that dwarfed all others. Its surface writhed with dark energy, and its very presence seemed to drain the light from nearby stars. A voice boomed across all frequencies in all minds. Insignificant creatures. You dare to interfere with the grand design. Ilara felt her blood run cold. This was the central consciousness Sophia had sensed, the true power behind the Void Horde. All Shins, focus your power on that ship, Admiral Zhang ordered. It's our only chance. What followed was a battle unlike any the galaxy had ever seen. Terran Shins unleashed the full might of their abilities, warping reality itself in their struggle against the Void Horde leader. Stars were moved, black holes created and dissipated, the very cosmic forces of the universe brought to bear. In the midst of the chaos, Ilara had a realization. It's not just about power, she told her team. We need to understand them, to find common ground. Reach out not with force, but with empathy. Following her lead, the Psionics changed tactics. Instead of attacking, they sought to connect, to comprehend the pain and loneliness that drove the Void Horde to such destruction. For a moment that seemed to stretch into eternity, nothing happened. Then, slowly, the massive void ship began to change. Its writhing surface calmed, the dark energy dissipating. The voice spoke again, but this time it was different, softer, almost confused. We understand. We have been alone for so long. We forgot what it was to connect. As the battle died down, Ilara and her team found themselves facing a new challenge, helping to integrate a species that had known only conflict for eons into the galactic community. In the days that followed, as the dust settled and the full extent of the Void Horde's devastation became clear, Ilara stood once again before the Galactic Council. High Counselor Zaxfon's voice was solemn. Dr. Chen, humanity has proven itself this day. Your Shins have saved countless lives, and potentially the entire galaxy. But the power you wield, it is both wondrous and terrifying. Ilara nodded, understanding the weight of his words. We know, High Counselor, and we pledge to continue working with the galactic community to use our abilities responsibly and for the good of all. As she left the council chambers, Ilara knew that this was just the beginning. Humanity had revealed itself as a force to be reckoned with in the cosmos. The galaxy would never be the same. But with great power came great responsibility, and the true test was yet to come. How would humanity navigate its new role in the galactic stage? Only time would tell. For now, as stars twinkled in the night sky of 100 worlds, there was hope. Hope for a future where the power of the mind could build bridges across the vast gulfs of space, uniting all sapient life in a cosmic community. The shroud had been unveiled, and with it, a new chapter in galactic history had begun. The alliance forged. In the wake of the Void Horde invasion, the galaxy found itself at a crossroads. Humanity's psionic abilities had saved countless lives and worlds, but the display of such immense power had also instilled a deep-seated fear in many alien species. As the dust settled, the question on everyone's mind was, what now? Dr. Ilara Chen stood before the newly formed Galactic Security Council, a body created to address the new realities of a post-Void Horde universe. The chamber, located on a neutral space station orbiting a pulsar, hummed with nervous energy. High Counselor Zaxfon, his liquid metal skin rippling with barely contained emotion, opened the session. We are gathered here to discuss the formation of an interspecies alliance, one that can stand against any future threats to our collective existence. Central to this discussion is the role of human shins. Ilara took a deep breath before speaking. Esteemed counselors, humanity understands your concerns. Our psionic abilities are powerful, yes, but they are also a resource that can benefit all. We propose the creation of a joint training and research initiative, where Pshivans work alongside scientists and peacekeepers from all species. The chamber erupted in a cacophony of voices. Some expressed support, others skepticism, and a few outright hostility. A Zarkonian representative, his iridescent scales flashing in agitation, spoke up. And what guarantee do we have that this initiative won't just be a front for human dominance? How can we trust beings with the power to reshape reality at will? Ambassador Reeves stepped forward, his voice calm but firm. Trust is earned, not given. We're proposing full transparency. Any species that wishes to send observers or participants to our psionic training facilities will be welcome. Moreover, we're offering to share our research into psionic potential. It's possible that with the right training, individuals from other species might develop similar abilities. This statement sent shockwaves through the assembly. The idea that psionic abilities might not be unique to humans changed the entire dynamic of the discussion. And Ellerin Elder, her luminescent tendrils pulsing thoughtfully, raised a question. Dr. Chen, what of the ethical implications? The power to influence minds, to manipulate the very fabric of space-time. How do you propose to ensure this power is not abused? Ilara nodded, having anticipated this crucial point. We've developed a strict ethical code for Xins, one that we're willing to submit for review and amendment by this council. Additionally, we propose the formation of an independent oversight committee with representatives from all member species to monitor psionic activities and research. As the debate raged on, an unexpected voice cut through the noise. It was Kethax, a representative of the reformed Void Horde, their biomechanical bodies still bearing scars from the recent conflict. We, who were once your enemies, stand as testament to the potential for change. Kethax's modulated voice resonated through the chamber. The humans' psionic abilities did not just defeat us. They understood us, connected with us. They showed us a better way. Perhaps it is time for the galaxy to embrace this gift, rather than fear it. Thax's words seemed to shift the mood in the chamber. Gradually, a consensus began to form. The galaxy needed unity in the face of unknown threats, and human shins could be a cornerstone of that unity, if properly regulated and integrated. After hours of intense negotiation, the Galactic Psionic Alliance was born. Its mandate: to train shins from all species, those that showed potential, to research the nature of psionic abilities, and to serve as a rapid response force for galactic threats. The next few months were a whirlwind of activity. The moon of Earth, once home to the secretive Psionic Defense Initiative, was transformed into an open campus for interstellar cooperation. Ilara found herself at the heart of it all, overseeing the integration of alien scientists and potential Pshins into the training program. One crisp lunar morning, Ilara stood watching as a group of new arrivals disembarked from a shuttle. There were Zarkonians with their iridescent scales, Elorans with their glowing tendrils, even a few of the reformed Void Horde, their biomechanical bodies gleaming in the starlight. Sophia Cruz, now a senior instructor, joined her. Quite a sight, isn't it? A year ago, who would have thought we'd be teaching aliens how to be shins? Ilara smiled, but her eyes held a hint of worry. It's progress, but we're walking a fine line, Sophia. The power we're dealing with, it could unite the galaxy or tear it apart. As if on cue, alarms blared across the facility. Ilara's comlink crackled to life with an urgent message from security. Dr. Chen, we have a situation in Lab 7. A Zarkonian researcher. She's manifesting psionic abilities, but she can't control them. Ilara and Sophia rushed to the lab, their minds already reaching out, trying to contain the situation. As they entered, they found chaos. Equipment floated in the air, spatial distortions warped the very walls of the room, and at the center of it all was Dr. Zixlara, a brilliant Zarkonian physicist, her scales glowing with psionic energy. "Help me," Zixlara cried out, her voice echoing strangely through the distorted space. "I can see everything. It's too much." Sophia stepped forward, her own psionic aura flaring to life. "Focus on my voice, Dr. Zixlara. You're not alone. We're here to help you through this." What followed was an intense psychic struggle as Ilara and Sophia worked to help Zixlara control her newfound abilities. It was a delicate balance. They needed to contain the unleashed psionic energy without suppressing Zixlara's awakening talent. Hours passed like minutes as they guided the Zarkonian through the tumultuous awakening. Finally, exhausted but successful, they managed to help Zixlara assert control over her powers. As the crisis subsided, Ilara realized the profound implications of what had just occurred. They had just witnessed the first non-human psionic awakening. The galaxy would never be the same. In the days that followed, news of Zixlara's awakening spread like wildfire. More alien species began to manifest psionic abilities, each awakening bringing new challenges and opportunities. The Galactic Security Council convened an emergency session to address the rapidly changing situation. Ilara found herself once again standing before the assembled representatives, but this time the atmosphere was different. There was fear, yes, but also excitement and hope. High Counselor Zaxfon's voice carried a note of awe as he addressed the assembly. "We stand at the threshold of a new era. The emergence of psionic abilities across multiple species changes everything. We must adapt, and quickly." Ilara stepped forward, her voice steady. "Counselors, what we're witnessing is not just the dawn of a new age for humanity, but for all sapient life. The Shroud is not just humanity's gift or burden to bear. It belongs to all of us. Together, we can unlock its mysteries and harness its power for the good of the entire galaxy." As debates raged and plans were forged, Ilara couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and trepidation. The alliance they had built was about to be tested in ways none of them could have imagined. The emergence of alien shins brought new possibilities, but also new dangers. Would this shared power unite the galaxy as never before? Or would it spark conflicts that could tear the fabric of space-time itself? As Ilara looked out at the assembled representatives of 100 worlds, she knew that the choices they made in the coming days would shape the destiny of countless civilizations for millennia to come. The shroud had been unveiled, and now its power was spreading. The true test of the galaxy's unity and humanity's resolve was just beginning. The final stand. 5 years had passed since the formation of the Galactic Psionic Alliance, and the universe had transformed in ways few could have imagined. Psionic abilities had spread across multiple species, reshaping societies, economies, and the very fabric of interstellar relations. Yet, with great power came great responsibility and great danger. Dr. Ilara Chen stood at the observation deck of the Harmonious Mind, the massive space station that served as the headquarters for the Alliance. Her gaze swept over the psionic-enhanced shipyards, where vessels of impossible design were constructed by the power of thought alone. Nearby, a group of Zarkonian and Ellerantians conducted delicate negotiations with a newly discovered species, their minds linking in a complex dance of diplomacy and cultural exchange. Quite a view, isn't it? The voice belonged to Ambassador Reeves, now showing signs of age, but still sharp as ever. Sometimes I can hardly believe how far we've come. Ilara nodded, a mix of pride and concern in her eyes. We've achieved so much, but the challenges keep growing. The psionic accords are still fragile, and not everyone is happy with the new balance of power. As if summoned by her words, alarms blared throughout the station. Holographic displays flickered to life, showing scenes of chaos across multiple sectors of the galaxy. High Counselor Zaxfon's voice boomed over the comms. Emergency protocol initiated. All Psions to battle stations. We are under attack. Ilara's blood ran cold as she took in the information flooding the screens. A coalition of anti-psionic factions, led by species who either couldn't develop psionic abilities or feared their influence, had launched a coordinated assault across the galaxy. Their weapons, technology designed to disrupt psionic energy fields and sever connections to the shroud. They're calling themselves the Null Collective, Reeves said grimly. And they've been planning this for years. As Ilara raced to the command center, her mind reached out to Sophia Cruz, now the head of the psionic response team. Sophia, what's our status? Sophia's telepathic voice was strained but focused. It's bad, Ilara. They're hitting us on multiple fronts. New Eden Colony is already dark. We've lost all psionic contact. The Zarkonian homeworld is under heavy bombardment. And there's something else. Something big coming through a rift in Sector 9. The command center was a hive of activity as Psions from a dozen species coordinated their efforts. Ilara took her place at the central nexus, her mind linking with the station's psionic amplifiers. All psionic defense fleets, mobilize immediately, she ordered. Priority is evacuation of civilian populations from targeted worlds. Sophia, take your team and investigate that rift. I have a bad feeling about it. As the battle unfolded across the stars, Ilara found herself stretched to the limit, coordinating defense efforts across vast distances. The Null Collective's anti-psionic technology proved devastatingly effective, creating dead zones where Psions were rendered powerless. Hours into the conflict, Sophia's voice cut through the psychic chatter, tinged with fear. Ilara, you need to see this. The rift, it's not natural. The Null Collective has somehow created a massive psionic dampening field. It's expanding, and if we don't stop it, it could cut off our entire galaxy from the shroud. The implications were staggering. Without access to the shroud, billions of Psions would be permanently stripped of their abilities. Worse, many of the advancements that had propelled the galaxy into a new golden age would cease to function. Ilara made a decision. Sophia, hold the line at the rift. I'm coming with reinforcements. It's time we show them the true power of unity. What followed was the largest gathering of Psions in galactic history. Ilara led a fleet of psionic-enhanced ships to the rift, carrying representatives from every psionic-capable species. As they approached, they saw the true scale of the threat, a roiling tear in spacetime, reigned by null collective ships emitting the dampening field. Everyone, link minds, Ilara commanded. We need to combine our powers in a way never before attempted. As thousands of minds joined in a vast psionic network, Ilara felt the barriers between species dissolve. In that moment, they were no longer human, Zarkonian, Elaren, or even reformed Void Horde. They were one consciousness, united in purpose. With their combined might, they reached into the very fabric of reality. They could feel the null collective's technology fighting against them, trying to sever their connection to the shroud. But their unity proved stronger. In a blinding flash of psionic energy, they closed the rift, overloaded the dampening field generators, and sent a pulse of pure thought across the galaxy. The pulse disrupted the null collective's technology, giving beleaguered defenders the opening they needed to turn the tide. As the battle waned and the null collective forces retreated or surrendered, Ilara found herself once again before the Galactic Security Council. The chamber was subdued, the weight of recent events hanging heavy in the air. High Counselor Zaxfon spoke, his voice somber. "Dr. Chen, you and your fellow Xinans have saved us all. But this conflict has shown us the dangers of relying too heavily on any one form of power, be it technological or psionic. What do you propose we do to prevent such a catastrophe from happening again?" Ilara stood, her posture straight but her eyes reflecting the wisdom gained through years of challenges. "Counselors, what we face today was born of fear and misunderstanding. The solution isn't to restrict psionic abilities or to shun technology. It's to strive for true balance and understanding between all sapient beings, psionic and non-psionic alike." She waved her hand, and a holographic representation of the galaxy appeared, showing the intricate web of psionic connections that now linked countless worlds. "I propose we expand the mandate of the Galactic Psionic Alliance. Let us create an organization that celebrates diversity in all its forms, psionic, technological, biological, and beyond. A union that recognizes that our strength lies not in uniformity, but in the unique contributions of every species and individual." As discussion erupted among the counselors, Ilara felt a sense of hope rising within her. The path ahead would not be easy, but for the first time, she could see a future where the power of the shroud was not a source of fear or conflict, but a bridge between all sapient life. The galaxy had faced its greatest test and emerged stronger. Humanity's unveiling of the shroud had set in motion a chain of events that reshaped the cosmic order. And now, as representatives from 100 worlds debated the future, Ilara knew that the true journey was just beginning. As she looked out at the stars, each one now a beacon of psionic light in her enhanced perception, Ilara smiled. The shroud had been unveiled, and with it, the dawn of a new age of galactic cooperation and understanding had begun. The warning had been heeded, the challenge met, and the future, vast and bright and full of possibilities, stretched out before them all.